All right, on to part 2 of the video. So we're looking for an equation in slope-intercept form for the line perpendicular. So let's start by finding the slope we need. So we know the slope in this line is 3. So the slope of the line that's perpendicular is equal to the opposite reciprocal of that, which is negative 1/3. So I have a slope of negative 1/3, and I want it to go through this point. So I'm going to use a point slope form. And just substitute in the values. Y minus 2 is equal to negative 1/3 times the quantity x minus 6. And I need it in slope-intercept form, so I need to simplify that. Y minus 2 is equal to negative 1/3 x plus 2 by using the distributive property. Adding 2 to both sides gives me y equals negative 1/3 x plus 4. And that should be the equation of the line that's perpendicular. We can check that and just see if you could check those on a graph and see if they look perpendicular, but we know that the two slopes are opposite reciprocals. If we multiply them, we'll get negative 1. So to try another problem, what is an equation for a line perpendicular to the one shown that contains the point 5, negative 1? So 5, negative 1, so it has to go through a point right about there. So let's find the slope first of the line that we're given. And that slope is equal to 3 minus negative 7 divided by 2 minus negative 2, which is equal to 10 fourths. I'm going to leave this as a fraction. I think it's easier to find the slope of the reciprocal line when it's a fraction. So the perpendicular line slope is equal to the opposite reciprocal. So I'm going to flip 5/2. So the reciprocal is 2/5. And then make it a negative. And we have the opposite reciprocal. Then I'm going to substitute the values that I have in for this one just says what is an equation, so I'm going to use the point slope form. That seems easiest here. Substitute my values in. I get y minus negative 1 is equal to negative 2/5 times x minus 5. Just make that look a little nicer. Y plus 1 is equal to negative 2/5 times quantity x minus 5. And then I have an equation. Try one more here. Got it? What is an equation of line perpendicular to y equals negative 3x minus 5 that contains the point negative 3, 7? So this equation is in, it says point slope form. I don't buy that. Let's change that to slope intercept form. So slope is negative 3. And so we know that the slope of the second line, the perpendicular line, is the negative reciprocal of that, which would make that 1/3, because negative 3 times 1/3 is equal to negative 1. Now I'm going to substitute those values in to write the equation, and I get y minus 7 is equal to 1/3 times the quantity x minus negative 3. And if I simplify that, I get y minus 7 equals 1/3 times quantity x plus 3. All right. Writing Finding equations of line. The baseball field below is on a coordinate grid with home plate at the origin. The batter hits the ground ball along the line shown. The player at one coordinate 11070 runs along a path perpendicular to the path of the baseball. What is the equation of the line? I think the player is in the wrong spot. It says the player is at 11070. Oh, I guess it's in the right spot. Sorry about that. So there we are, 11070. And we know that this line's going to continue out here, so that player is going to try and catch that ball at a perpendicular angle. It looks like about there, but we'll see. Anyway, so we want to find the slope of the ball, and then we want to be perpendicular to that. So the slope of the ball, and to do that, we can just pick a couple points, or we can just use the grid to help us. You might notice that we go up 10. For every 30, we go across. So that slope is 10 over 30, or 1/3. Now the slope of the player, we want that to be on the line perpendicular. So that means it needs to be the opposite reciprocal of 1/3, which is -3. And then the equation of the player, we're going to just use the slope, point slope form. Substitute in values. We're going to use this point right here, and that point is 11070. So we get y minus 70 is equal to -3 times the quantity x minus 110, and that's in point slope form. Doesn't say it needs to be in slope intercept form, so we can just go with that. All right. Suppose the second player standing at 90-40 misses the ball, turns around and runs on a path parallel to the baseball's path. What does an equation of the line represent? The player's path? Well, the slope of the ball, remember, is about 1/3. So this player who misses the ball and turns around, if they're parallel to that, then this player needs to have the same slope. And the player is standing at the point 90-40, so we can use that to substitute for our x1 and y1 in the point slope form. And we get y minus 40 is equal to 1/3 times the quantity x minus 90. All right, lesson check. Your classmate tries to find an equation for a line parallel to y equals 3x minus 5 that contains -4, 2. What is your classmate's error? Well, classmates should know that if the line is parallel, that they have the same slopes. And it looks like our classmate thinks that the slope of a parallel line needs to be the reciprocal of the slope of a given line, but that's wrong. So that number right there should be 3. So it's correct as equation. The y minus 2, that's fine. The part that we have to change is the slope, which should be 3. Now it's all good. All right. That's the end of the lesson. We'll see you tomorrow.